I like your cubicle there that you've got now.
Yeah, so I this is like why not start on this the little change in what everything looks like. It does look like a cubicle. So literally my roommate moved out, so I moved my office from downstairs to upstairs.
Moving on
This
up, lady.
way like I could be closer to my wife and everything. I moved and plus it's like double the size. So I moved this entertainment center in here. That's what this is. It's a big like entertainment center. I've got a big TV. I've got all my consoles set up. I'm moving my bookcases up here. Literally hit me right when I was like my COVID symptoms hit me right when it was available to do this.
Oh,
And I was
so
like,
nothing
son
is
of a
set up.
bitch. Yeah. So I got like this moved up here. My wife helped me. I got a couch moved up here, a little futon, and
Nice.
like a table. And that's all I could do because I was so fucking tired. But the next day I was like, I gotta fucking get my computer up there. I gotta do it. So I ended up getting my computer, my desk up here like the next day. And just trying to put all this together is so weird because before I had an outlet literally like right there on the wall. Right now, my desk is not touching a wall. Because the shared wall will be where when we have a kid, that'll be like the nursery. So I was like, I'll try to give a little bit of distance there.
Don't want them to hear you say the
Yeah.
word dicks too much.
Oh yeah, that's exactly it. I was like, it's you know how some people have their kids listen to music and such. They want them to be
That
intellectuals.
classical.
Yeah,
Dude,
I'm just afraid of that
IndiePod.
osmosis of idiocy. Just like I'm gonna make my child a dumbass just accidentally.
IndiePod is the classic music of podcasting. I don't know if you know
Oh, yeah.
this. When your wife is getting pregnant, for those listening, just play this audio right next to her tummy, and
That's a good point.
you will have the smartest of babies.
I'm going to take a collage of all of just the worst questions we've ever been asked, you know? It's just like, how much money would somebody have to pay you to eat a turd? Like, how close is too close when it comes to cousin fucking? You know, all the
I mean,
good
it's
stuff.
literally
And
a, a film reel of like the best of Phil's
Phil?
questions.
yeah, exactly. Speaking of happy birthday, Phil, that's so
Happy
cool.
birthday, buddy.
That's so cool. Like it doesn't happen every year. No, just happy birthday.
Once
It's-
every 5 years, the Wombat Emperor does age.
Good
Crazy,
point.
ain't it? Might be.
I don't know
might
when
be,
a leap year is, I'll be honest, but
not-
maybe that's what's happening right
Not
now.
now.
But yeah, so I ended up getting COVID, barely moved some shit up here, and I have like my my surge protectors are not, one of them is super long, but the other one is like half the length. So I had to like really just weirdly rig together my power setup right now. So it's very odd looking, like literally just resting on my tower right now is a surge protector. And I'm just like, it'll have to do for right now. It looks weird, but whatever. But it's working, you know?
All right.
It's working. I'm glad. These outlets should be on, for the most part, a different circuit than those ones. So hopefully, if I blow anything, I just blow myself. You know, that's the way you got it. That's the way you got to
Yeah,
do it. That's the
I
way you
mean,
love it. But
I love
yeah,
blowing myself.
I just haven't had time to set up the rest of my office yet. I brought up one of my bookcases yesterday and it just broke. And I was like, sweet. That's
Oh,
exactly what I
no.
want. Yeah. Apparently the only thing making it stable was this like really rickety like cardboard that was nailed to the backside of it. So I ended up I unscrewed the bottom part, took off the top and like cut the cardboard off. And I was like, it's a half shelf. There we go. So I
Yeah,
just have
all
that
right.
sitting there. I was like, I got a third bookshelf. Let's see if I can get that one up here without breaking the shit out of it.
Oh
but
no.
yeah,
All right.
that's how things are going. Just to let everybody know, I am obviously recovering from COVID. You can hear I've got a little bit of sinusy in my voice. You know, that's a word, sinusy.
Sinusy.
That's,
Yeah,
that's a
doctor
clinical
approved.
term. I've heard my doctor say that, even though I haven't been to the doctor in like 10 years. You know what I mean? He might have just been some dude that lived in a cardboard box. But whatever, dude. It's like, I know that's a word. So my voice is a little sinusy and I might have a cough every now and then. So just be prepared for that. I'll try to mute it as soon as possible. But, you know, if you hear a cough, you get a cough. Like, I don't feel bad for you. I'm the one that had to live through it. You know what I mean?
It's true.
But hello and welcome to IndiePod, an Indie Games podcast, your weekly source for all the indie games news you need to know. This week, we are bringing you one awesome indie game news story before, of course, hopping in to News Cram. We've got our indie shoutouts. We answer your listener questions, and that's it because, you know what? We love you just up to the point, you know? Like,
yeah,
it's
sure,
like
for sure.
Just there. You know, it's not like I will walk 1,000 miles or whatever like that song is. I forget what it is. You know what I mean? It's 500? Not that far. Maybe it's 500.
500 and then walk 500 more. So it's like you're kind of right.
Yeah, okay. So I was totally right. It's 1,000
but not
miles.
Really.
I'm going to act like I totally knew that. But yeah, it's just right up to the point. You know,
yeah.
we're not going to put any additional.
We love the listeners just enough to make this content each and every week. And then
yeah, exactly.
That's all we can give. You know,
I almost tuned in with COVID just to let you guys know. I almost did that. And then I was like,
very dedicated.
Nah, boy. You know what really pissed me off is that I didn't record because I was like, I don't want to fuck up my throat. I was like, my throat already kind of hurts. If I record, it's just going to make it worse. The next day, my throat fucking hurt like hell anyway. And I was like, son of a bitch. I should have just done it. Like, it would have been fine.
But it could have been 10 times worse. You don't know.
Yeah, true. It could have. It felt like somebody just kept slicing my throat with a blade, but like it could have been worse than that. And I appreciate you for doing a solo episode. Before we get into anything of the episode, I would like to introduce myself, Vaughn, alongside my illustrious co-host, the biggest of average Just Boys. How you doing today, Big Just Boy?
I'm doing good. I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm glad you're back. Weird energy on that solo episode. I had some fun with it. I think I did a pretty good job. I liked my
How much water you have to drink? You had to do a lot of fluids.
You know what? I thought about it after I did the thing. I didn't take a single sip throughout the entire 48 minutes or so of that episode. And then I was like, fuck, I should have been drinking water. I know.
You got a moist mouth, dude.
Well, you know me.
I got a real wet mouth.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure the audio listeners fucking love that.
But I'm glad that you got through the episode. I'm glad that you got through the episode.
Me too. It's true. I could have died right through it, you know?
Yeah.
And then who would have uploaded
Vaughn
it?
was out for COVID and then fucking... That's a good point. We don't have the contingency plan.
It's
true. We
that...
have it if I die. What happens if we both die? Who does it then?
Who? I don't know. Does Phil become?
Yeah, I think that's Phil's deal. Phil has got to fly to either Idaho or Florida, and he's got to get it. He's got to put it together, and he's got to upload it. Phil is the heir of IndiePod, if anything. You know, just saying. It's like that's.
I like how we both live with someone specifically in our house, but we're like, no, Phil, you got to go all the way from Australia and come over here and fucking upload this video.
I know you have a life in Australia. I know you have a partner. I know you have all this. You got a life. You got a cat, I'm fairly certain. But you know what? How about you just get off your butt? You come over here, you upload this, and we both die. How about that? Like, I imagine you'll appreciate it. It'll be like, what if, though, no one stopped the recording and they also got our significant others finding us dead on the podcast.
Ooh,
that's also extra content. And then you get the first responders coming and they're just like, man, yeah, this boy's hella dead. I don't know how you didn't know he was dead. And they rigor mortis has already set in. I'm just rock hard in many ways. And they're trying to take me out, but they can't put me on the stretcher. So I'm just this all the way out.
I like it. I like it. Welcome back.
That's a good plan right there. That's a good plan. Yeah, I'm glad to be back. Of course, we got to get into a little bit of housekeeping before we hop in to our main topics and such. for today. Please check out our developer interview with Divine Studios. That one is going live on Wednesday the 9th. They are talking about their game Valorous. Head over to the IndiePod store on Teespring when you're just in your browser. You could pick up some t-shirts, some stickers. You could pick up a cool sweatshirt. And soon to be more. As soon is a very relative term at this point.
Sure is.
Head over to YouTube and just type in IndiePod. You can subscribe there. You can watch these episodes. You can get the visual gags when they happen. It's few and far between, but they do happen.
I know they're more often now. You could get to see me making those disgusting lip smacking noises.
You could see my cubicle. You know?
I mean, I mentioned the whole cubicle thing. They're going to be like, listen, and they're
nobody knows.
Where was he before? He wasn't in an office before? We can't tell. You can.
Good point.
Watch the videos.
There you go. Big Josh Boy popping out with the logic. Speaking of, leave us reviews on any site in which you could do so, specifically iTunes and Spotify. Help us out a whole lot. And lastly, thank you so much to all of our amazing patrons at the $3 tier or higher. If you give us any amount of time, any amount of your money, you are absolutely fantastic and we adore you for it. But we've got that blood pact and we got to say thank you to them. I do love that. Obviously, I edited this out for I believe specifically just the audio. I think it is actually still in the video of you forgetting to look for the patrons' names last week. Yeah. And you were like, oh, you could leave it in if you want to. So I was like, for the video, it'll just look cleaner if I don't edit it. So I just left
hilarious.
it in. So
there's a good, like,
a solid
30 seconds of a fuck up. Yeah.
It's maybe a minute, maybe more of you just like, let's get these names. Okay. You're like, oh God, I have to log into this. So thank you so much to Ryan, Ethan, a gamer for fun, John, it's just John, bro, Zach Durham, Chase Hopkins, Philip Renshaw, the Wombat Emperor of Australia, and Sam Fillion from Canada. Thank you all so much. You're all so amazing. And Big Josh, a boy. For like COVID, I didn't play any indie games. I hopped onto my PC after putting it all together and everything. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to play something for a little while. I wanted to play Skull the Hero Slayer because it was on Xbox Game Pass PC. And then guess what? I just, took a fatty. Turns out not on there until the 11th or the 10th.
That's true.
So I'll go fuck myself on that one. I ended up finishing the Dragon Age Inquisition DLC. I'm all done with that, dude. I'm all done.
Congrats. Wow.
Yeah. It only took me like 90 hours of my fucking life,
Yeah, I won't be doing that. But I'm very proud of you. Good. I mean, as much as I say that, literally all I've been playing is, I've been playing a game that I can't talk about until next week because of embargoes, which I'll talk about, and I'm having a good time with it, but can't say anything. But other than that, I mean, come on, man, it's just more Isaac. As I'm back into the grind. I'm trying to 100% this game, at least from regular, like, non-tainted characters. I'm trying to do every single unlock, which I'm actually pretty close to. So I've been just grinding away. It's one of those games where, man, a night will go and it'll be like 10 o'clock and I'll be like, I'll play this for like an hour. And then I'll stop and I'll do some real shit. And then it'll be 3 a.m. and I'll be like, oh, fuck, I gotta go to bed.
I appreciate your grind set, for real. I very much adore the fact that you can play Binding of Isaac this much. I wish I loved anything as much as you love the Binding of Isaac. I gotta be real. Like, I wish I loved my unborn child, my fictitious child as much as you love the Binding of Isaac, but it's just never gonna happen.
Nobody can get it. And it's funny too, because there's moments where I fucking hate this game. Like, especially with some of these characters trying to do these unlocks, I'm like, this is the stupidest. But like, I get so mad, but then I do it and I'm like, yeah, it felt good. All right, let's go.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. So we really haven't been playing that much, at least like out of the ordinary. Next week, I'm going to be talking about Skull the Hero Slayer because I do want to play it. Big Josh Boy going to be talking about an embargoed game. So let's just hop in to our first and only news story for today. This one is over on IGN. It is written by Jared Moore, and it is Team 17 nixes environmentally friendly Worms NFT project after backlash. So just to let everybody know, this devolved really quickly, like within a week. They announced that they were going to start putting out this Worms NFT like set that encompasses like the last 26 years of Worms games,
and they're like little statues.
Yeah, they almost look like the little trophies that you'd get
from Smash Brothers.
Smash Bros. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But they're just different kinds of worms from the games, which is actually kind of cool because they do have a lot of like different aesthetics.
But yeah, for sure. It'd be great if it was just like in-game stuff that was, like Smash Brothers. You just unlock it by doing things.
Yeah, definitely. But it was supposed to be an environmentally safe or environmentally friendly, because that is one big thing about NFTs that people do not enjoy, is the actual consumption of electricity that is required to like do certain things within NFTs. So like the proof of work for NFTs is a big deal. Basically, so actually housing the data that is required to show that, like, yes, you do have this thing on the blockchain, and to keep whatever worth it has. From what I understand, there are more environmentally friendly versions of like NFTs. I'm trying to remember, there are a couple of different ways you can do it, where like the Ethereum blockchain normally does a proof of work one, which is not actually what would be environmentally friendly. And they do that on purpose. It's actually needlessly unintuitive when it comes to or needlessly consumes as much power as possible. So that's meant to be like an opportunity cost. It's meant to keep you in it, to actually give you a reason to basically not just flood the market and fuck with shit. But there are other versions of this where you don't have to have that proof of work, where they do things like you invest some of your crypto into it, and that is that's basically like your buy-in for the most part. Right. But this one's a little bit odd. Apparently they were going on an Ethereum side chain that uses the same amount of energy as the average annual kettle usage of around 11 UK households for only, they were minting 100,000 NFTs. Yeah. So it's not a whole lot. That doesn't seem like a massive amount of electricity usage, but I do understand a lot of people do have an issue with NFTs because of their electrical consumption. It should also be said that within this, they also had this weird real life worm beds situation where they were going to it says the two companies have also announced that the project will partner with sustainability platform Corn for Planet. Dude, I'm so out of it right now. Coin for Planet. And specifically, it's my God, I'm having such a hard time reading this. Specifically, it's Refeed Farms project, meaning that a portion of every NFT sale will be used to invest in real-life worm beds that are used to replenish soil instead of synthetic fertilizers. So they are kind of going out of their way to make this more environmentally friendly. I do have to say, though, I think a lot of people are bitching about NFTs for the wrong reasons, and I think it's legitimately hilarious. I get it if you don't like NFTs, whatever, but I guess let's just get into this real quick. Sure, they ended up rolling it back after both fan backlash because of the rolling tide of NFTs, as well as people that work with them having issues with this, specifically like the Overcooked devs going under devs. I believe even it says that Platonic has said something about it, where they were like, we feel blindsided by the fact that you're doing this NFT thing, and we refuse to put NFTs in our games, which Team 17 actually came out and said that, like, before they had canceled this, they were not going to put NFTs in any games other than their own. Like, they would not force that on anyone. So I do find that, I guess, part of the issue a little weird. But after all of this backlash, they decided, hey, we've listened to our Teamsters, development partners, and our games community, and the concerns they've expressed, and have therefore taken the decision to step back from the NFT space. They've decided to no longer move forward with the Worms NFTs, and instead, basically, they're just doing what the Stalker 2 team did, where they're no longer going to be doing NFTs for the foreseeable future. We don't know if it'll come back or anything, but Big Joshua, how do you feel about NFTs?
I literally could not care less.
Okay. All right.
Like, the thing about this is I think people get so heated about it, and I'm like, I get it. I think it's stupid. I'd never buy one of these dumb NFT worm statues.
Yeah.
But I never bought any other bullshit that was in a game that wasn't this before NFT. So I don't fucking care. And like, the thing is, yeah, it sucks, but like, you see all these people who are like complaining and crying about it, and they're like, guess I'm never buying a Team 17 game again. And you're like, shut up. That's not true. You know you're going to buy it if it's something you like. Just don't fucking get the NFT. Like, what kind of stance are you making? It's totally wrong. Like, I get that you don't like it. Don't give them money. Don't give them money for that thing.
Don't buy the NFT.
Don't buy the thing. If no one buys the thing, they won't do it. Like, what are you people going crazy about? So I don't know. And granted, people are going to do the thing. They're going to buy it. Well, they can't now. But like, if you're really that upset about it, just don't get it. But like, also just saying like, I'm never gonna, because that's the concern. And I understand why those companies, like, you know, the people behind Overcooked and Going Under and Platonic, kind of made that backlash of being like, we don't stand for it, so fuck you, is because people do this all the time, especially with publishing companies, because the publisher is usually the bigger conglomerate of like all of these indie devs that they're helping out. And so you have something like a Devolver Digital, where if Devolver Digital did something like this and was like, hell yeah, man, NFTs all the way, every game that was published by Devolver Digital, people would be like, wow, now we hate Hotline Miami because Devolver Digital. And it's like, Devolver Digital isn't the company that made this game. Like, they're just publishing it. Like, but it's just, it's perception. It's the fact that no one cares about the nitty gritty about it. So they immediately see name on game. Doesn't matter if it's the main developer or just wherever, it's in there. So must hate. It's like very simple hatred that just gets thrown. So I get it from their side of things because they're just trying to save their ass. But like, also, I agree with you. People are making like a big stink about this when it sucks. Like, I think NFTs are dumb in general, like for a lot of reasons, but I just don't care. Like, I don't know.
I'm not for or against NFTs, honestly. I feel like there are people who have rolled them out poorly, and a lot of people on like free feeds, they can, I believe it's out by now. I just like swallowed a breath, which is
that was weird.
How you do that? It should be out by now. My conversation with Eldar Basic, or actually it might come out next week, about NFTs and how Ubisoft really didn't roll theirs out well, especially when it comes to the Ghost Recon Breakpoint stuff. But I believe in a future where NFTs could exist and could do so not only like have it be environmentally safe for the most part, but also just be something that like, hey, they exist. They can offer interesting new ways to like interact with your media.
For sure.
Like where you can own these specific experiences. But my big issue with NFTs is like, they're going to happen whether you like them or not. So I would hope that people would basically like stop being such bitches about the people who are doing NFTs well which I would say is like the people who are making the environmentally safe NFTs that are trying to really cut down on their power usage, that are doing things like these worm beds, like people who are trying to actually, I guess, kind of like give back a little bit for however much they take. I think supporting those developers is better than saying no one can have NFTs. Everyone's basically shitting on everyone for NFTs, because they're going to happen whether you like it or not. And I really like, I hate to see a future where somebody like these big conglomerates, like these really big companies succeed with NFTs because who gives a shit? People buy it, they buy it. Like, they don't care about how their fan base feels about NFTs. And they do absolutely nothing for the environment. They don't give anything back. They do these shady business practices, and they kind of get away with it when people who are trying to do NFTs what would be the right way are getting swept under the rug because no NFTs. It's a blanket statement. Even though I feel like people are kind of hating NFTs for the wrong reasons. Well, I guess, hey, I shouldn't police your hatred, but like it's very weird how everyone seems to hate NFTs, but when you ask them, it's kind of just hearing like the parroted answer from everyone. It's like the same few things. They're like, oh, they're not environmentally, like they use too much power. And it's like, okay, I get that. But if you're also truly that worried about power consumption, should you really be such a big fan of a digital media that's like entirely run by power? Like, if you're that worried about it, you'd think you cut back in a few more ways than just shitting on NFTs. But as long as it doesn't affect your life, right? Like, it's not the thing you care about.
That's exactly it, baby. Who cares? Yeah. It ain't my thing, but that thing sucks. I don't know. I think the idea or like the concept of NFTs could be something useful or interesting. I just think the way that they've been rolled out and the way they've been used currently just seem stupid. It's all the same monkey pictures. It's all the same arguments about like, I can copy and paste your image and blah, 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 blah. Like, I just don't care about the rhetoric that's going around about NFTs. So it's immediately a turnoff for me to even look into it or like what it could be beneficial, because I know what is the mainstream version of what an NFT is, and it's not for me. Like, I'm not the audience for this. So you know what? If you want to buy a picture of a monkey for billions of dollars and you've got that money, I question your
sanity,
your spending priorities, but I don't care. Like, you do it. If that's what you love, if that gives you excitement and you wake up every morning and you think, God, I got that fucking monkey, and that's what helps you stay alive in life and keep going, then fuck, do it. Buy that goddamn monkey. But like, I have no interest in that monkey or anything else it could be at this point. And I know it's not just monkeys, but like, that's the main thing that you always see. But like, when something comes out that'll be slightly different, and NFTs, you know, I'm sure there's going to be a company that figures out how to roll this out in a proper way that seems not just like a cash grab, or not just like oh, look, you could buy a picture or some kind of weird thing. And there's some more like, for me, feels like more of a tangible good that seems like, even though it's digital, it's not like, I understand the idea of like digital versus a physical thing, but like more tangible in the eyes of just like importance or interest to me, then maybe I'll get involved. But as of right now, and like this whole thing, like this, if this wasn't a story, like if we didn't have the update already and this was a story of like, Josh, how do you feel about them putting NFT? I'd have the same response. Literally, okay. Like,
yeah, cool. They've got NFTs. Like, cool, I'm not gonna see. That's the thing, though, is I feel like a lot of people are kind of getting on this boo NFT bandwagon, where the NFTs cannot exist in the industry. It's not going to happen at this point.
Oh,
like,
no,
literally any iteration of NFTs is just gonna get shit on out of existence, and it's kind of hilarious for the most part. But it's so weird that in like an entire like new faction of, or an entire new idea of technology will literally never be able to exist because so many people are just and this is going to sound bad, but so many people are just misinformed as to what an NFT can be. And it's so hilarious because you're like, oh, I understand that it's more than just monkey pictures. Not many people understand that. It's not just JPEGs. And the funniest thing is, literally in the conversation with Eldar, I was like, can you steal an NFT? Because I've heard a lot of people say this, that they're like, oh, I copied your JPEG. And he's like, no, you can't. Like NFT, like the idea of an NFT is not just the picture. It is also that digital like registry on the blockchain. Yes, NFTs are dumb. The idea of what an NFT is right now, pretty fucking stupid. But maybe in like, I also understand the people like Eldar who see the future of what NFTs could be. They could be these really awesome ways to interact with developers and interact with communities. But that's like 15, I don't know, fucking 5, 10, 15 years down the road.
It's going to be a while.
Yeah, and if you don't get past this hurdle of monkey pictures, it's never going to happen.
It's the same thing. It's not the same, but it's very similar to like, I think about how a lot of issues, especially in the world, this comes to kind of more of a serious topic, but like, think about global warming. Global warming is a thing. And if you don't believe in this, come on, man. Like,
then you probably don't care about the environmental impact of NFTs. Yeah,
that's also true. But like, let's not argue that. Let's just argue the fact that global warming was a terrible idea because they kind of got ahead of themselves when they decided the name on that. Just like in this situation where NFTs kind of people got ahead of themselves because how they blow up was monkey pictures, and that's literally like the face of NFTs, just like global warming is that word, as opposed to what they now keep trying, which is climate change. And anytime they're like, no, it's not just that, and people go like, it's cold, it's record cold too, so it's not global warming. And you're like, motherfucker, would you listen for a second? And so like, that's what NFTs are always going to be, is like, no matter what, for years, you're going to be like, fucking monkey picture shit. Like, I'm not listening to that.
NFTs will be monkey pictures for the foreseeable future. It is just so funny. Honestly, this is the last thing I'm going to say about NFTs, is that like, it is, and this is something that Eldar talks about on Twitter all the time, is that in the industry, it is just very easy to dogpile on NFTs and to get some brownie points with whoever, just like the layman gamer. It is so easy to just shit on that, because it does seem like a shitty cash grab. It does. And hell, it might be. Like, for certain people, it totally might be a shitty cash grab where they're just trying to get a couple of extra bucks out of you. But like, so are fucking video games. Let's be honest. Video games are cash grabs. They're literally created to make money. Like, with very few exceptions, they are created to make money. Like, don't fool yourself. Most people don't do this out of the kindness of their hearts. A lot of the games you love were made to make money. So let's just get over this hill of you being like, I don't like the fact that people are making money. It's like, fucking get over it. Then don't buy it. Like, what? Why should that affect if you're going to purchase any of Team 17's fucking games from now to the end of eternity? And like, everyone being like, they are not good for the environment. It's like, do you really want to go down that path? Because like, we can probably list out 1,000 things you do in your everyday life that's not good for the environment. Like, the same people are like, it's not good for the environment, are the same people who bitch about like fucking paper straws at Starbucks. And you're like, why do they? I don't understand why you give a shit that you're using a paper straw instead of a plastic straw, dude. Fuck yeah, sea turtles are dope. Paper straws are easy as fuck to use, and they're easier to bite on. You know what I mean? Like, quit being a bitch about it.
Oh, so, no, I disagree so goddamn much. I hate those things.
Don't understand. I will say, it does, in a very small way, affect my enjoyment of a beverage, because you do have that paper taste every time. Unless you just don't touch your tongue to it. But like, I'm just saying.
Here's the thing.
All these people trying to say they fucking live in glass houses. Like, you post literally everything that you do on social media. Maybe you shouldn't criticize people for their environmental impact until you like start to roll back the dumb shit that you do in your life. Because I do a bunch of dumb shit. That's why I'm not coming at NFTs. I'm like, bro, I got fucking 2 lights on right here. I got 2 monitors, a beefy ass PC here. Let's be honest. I'm not like I'm an environmentally conscious person. I own a home. I'm absolutely not, but whatever.
You're the worst. The worst.
I know, dude.
Look, I agree. We need the paper straws versus it. I mean, you could also just buy your own straw and metal straw and then be done with it. But like, if you're going to tell me that paper straws are better than plastic, you're fucking wrong. There's no damn way. Trying to drink out of a wet noodle.
I'm not saying they are better. I'm just saying, why does it fucking matter? You know what I mean? Like,
because it turns into goop.
It doesn't affect my enjoyment of the beverage enough. Like, fucking drink it faster, Big Josh. Boy.
No,
it does not get that fucking mushy.
It's so
quickly.
mushy. You're so wrong. What are you doing?
I've used them several times. They have never got that mushy that fast.
Well, then
you
were
just suck
chugging.
on them. What are you doing?
What are you doing? Are you drinking out of them?
Yes.
Oh, no.
I just drink like a normal person. I actually drink beverages slowly. I'm fairly certain I drink them slower than the average person, and I've never had a paper straw go limp noodle on me. Like, it's never happened.
Wow. I don't know.
I didn't know that this was a fucking a hot button topic for Big Josh.
This is an
not
issue.
A fan of paper straws.
Look, I get why they're here. I just think they suck.
Okay.
I'll deal with it, but I hate them.
Do you like boycott businesses that have paper straws?
Oh yeah, all the time. I'm like, fuck it, never again. I will never buy from a Starbucks because they use paper. No, I don't care. I'll drink out of the paper straw. I just don't like it. I don't
give a shit. Yeah, okay. All right. So that covers our main news story for today. So it is time for us to hop into News Cram.
Cram. Oh, I'm vamping a little bit. Sorry. Let me do a longer cram. Excuse me.
Cram. I had to take a sippy because I had a little tickle in my throat.
That's all the COVID coming out
down there, Yeah, dude.
Oh, and there's some more.
Fuck me, Jesus. Okay, so News Cram is our weekly wrap-up segment where we, the hosts of Indie Pod and Indie Games Podcast, cram you full of all sorts of indie games news. This week, we do have one quick news story for you before we hop into a whole bunch of new stuff. Our first and only quick news story for today comes by way of Nintendo Life, where it's reported that this year's Indie Live Expo will take place on May 21st and the 22nd, with the 21st focusing on games that fans can play right now. So I'm assuming that
like games that are out
means games that are out. So these are like updates or possibly games that are out now. Mm-hmm. So like they're dropping the day of. Not exactly certain.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that because it might might be for day 2. The way I interpreted this was like all of day 1 are games that just already exist and have already been out, and they're more of just like recognizing those games or maybe updates, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
I thought it could be updates and just like basically shadow drops for the most part, or just like immediate drops, because so on the 22nd, you can tune in to see world premieres of brand new unannounced games and new information on previously announced titles, along with an indie studios around the world feature and live performances. I hate that people have to do live performances. Just fucking don't. Just don't. They're never good. They're not good. Oof. The Game Awards does them. Their butthole. Like, let's just move on. You know what I mean? But yeah, I guess I could see where it's like world premieres of brand new unannounced games. Right. I could see that. But I feel like maybe it's a mix of the two. Maybe we'll get some day 1 drops in both. Because you can have like games you can play right now would fit in an unannounced game that you literally just announce and then just like it's out right now.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess you could say that the game was announced, but you just didn't know. Like the game is in existence, but like the fact that it can play right now isn't, right? So I guess that could still technically fall in that category. I do think that's interesting though, because, to your point of like, they probably want to put some, day 1 drops is like, what's the view count going to look like in comparison? Like if you're literally telling them nothing is coming out the first day of stuff you don't already know, like how many people are going to watch it?
Right? It is pretty vague, yeah.
I mean, granted, you might watch it because you're like, I don't want to do research on indie games out there already. And like, this is just a good way to be like, do I want to play some new games? So like, day one could be useful, but also you normally want to watch those things just to be like, what's coming out? I'm super excited. What's, so I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. So once again, that's May 21st and the 22nd. Now on to some new stuff. Our first 4 items of new stuff come away from Nintendo Life, where it's reported that survival horror game, what the fuck, Scotfold, Shrouded in Sanity by Steve Gall is headed to the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One on February 11th, with the physical copies available for those who wish to purchase the game on PlayStation 4. That adventure game Land of Screens by Serenity Forge is out now on the Nintendo Switch and PC via Steam. That sports RPG Dodgeball Academia by Pocket Trap is getting a physical release through Humble Games sometime this March, with pre-orders live at the time of this recording. I believe through just like Humble Games, like the Humble Bundle website. I guess it's like the Humble Games website, because they do have their own store. But
yeah, they do.
It shouldn't be too hard to find. And that action adventure game Gibbon Beyond the Trees by Broken Rules Interactive Media GmbH is headed to Apple Arcade on February 25th, with PC and the Nintendo Switch versions of the game scheduled for sometime later in 2022. Now over on IGN, where it's reported that indie developer and publisher Yacht Club Games has just announced a new project titled Mina the Hollower. I believe I said that correctly. Honestly, it's got me 5 times where I've said harrower or hollower, and I'm just like, is that right?
Have you looked at the video for this game?
Yeah, it looks really interesting. I'm not 100% like, I don't know if I'm going to be really into it, because I'm not a fan of like the old school Zelda format, but it seems cool.
I mean, yeah, it does have that interesting like digging mechanic, which I think is different. But yeah,
where you can like shoot into the ground and pop up in other areas. That was it was pretty cool. It does have a very cool like gameplay system. It looks much more complicated than an old school Zelda game. I just don't know how much I like that, I guess, that isometric action adventure game instead of, I guess.
Is it more of like the visuals that kind of trip you up, like just as a preference type of thing?
It might be like for my preference.
You enjoy Death's Door
pixel art games,
right? So like,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Maybe it's like the super old feel of that, where it's like an isometric game, like Death's Door or like Pillars of Eternity, like a bunch of different games I can get into, but when combined with the like old school 8-bit art style, maybe I'm not a big fan of. I'm not super sure. Yeah. I do like old school art styles. Like I love Shovel Knight, and however much like I'm not a huge fan of Cyber Shadow, like I think it's a cool game, it's just not for me.
It was great.
I do like that art style a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe I just need to look into Mina a little bit more.
I don't know. This is definitely one of the ones I'm going to kind of sit on and wait, because it's funny, when I was doing the solo episode, I was talking about how, this is a company, Yacht Club Games, this is a company that has done a lot of, like, they have a track record right now so far of pretty well received games. And I was like, whatever they do, I'm pretty sure I'll be into it, and like it'll be good. And I saw this and I was like, I'm not into this.
Like, really? You're not?
I don't know. Like it looks fun, but it looks like one of the games where I would not really play it. Like, I don't know. I don't know that I would sink time into this. And granted, I've only seen that one video, like the trailer for the Kickstarter. So I kind of want to give it some time and see, like, just sit on it, wait for it to actually come out and see what people think of it before I really dive into it. But it just did not catch me at all. I was like, I'm still looking at that Shovel Knight dig. Like, that's what I'll get into. But
all right,
not this one.
Well, just to let everybody know, there is a company, like they also announced a Kickstarter for this game. It's more than funded at this point. It's already past several stretch goals. So if you want to hop into it, that's going to go for, like, I believe the next 22 days after the time this is out for everybody. So There you go. And it does have a release window of December 2023, but that's always subject to change. You never know what's going to happen, especially with the the estimated delivery dates on Kickstarter. Sometimes they can be a little bit weird. And to round out the group over on GameSpot, it is reported that the Bloodborne demake, Bloodborne PSX by Lilith Walther, is now available on PC through itch.io. Obviously, we followed this for a while, but I've actually heard like people are enjoying this. A lot of people are downloading it.
Is it full game?
I don't think it's the entirety of Bloodborne. I think
it's like the first like couple of sections, right?
I haven't hopped into it yet. I wouldn't be surprised if it was just, I don't know, the first few bosses. I know it does have Father Gascoigne, the like second boss at the very least, but I don't know how much further it goes into that, because Bloodborne is a pretty long game. So to demake literally all of that, if they did, that would be fucking impressive. I would shit my pants for sure, like guaranteed. So there you go. But we have thoroughly covered everything in News Cram, so it's time for us to get back to the developers in our indie shout out. This is where Big Josh Boy and I just hop into the internet, find some dope ass indies to talk about, and we do just so. Big Josh Boy.
I like the
just the slight riff saying, on the shit that I used to say before.
Well, no, I do enjoy it. I think it still blends well, but I like the saying of just we pop into the internet. Like, just such a strange way to put that. Like
it's like a fucking Scooby-Doo, like that Cyber Chase or whatever it was movie where they like hop into all the video games, get chased by that weird ass like electrical ghost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it turns out that it's just like a guy in a suit, and you're like, how'd you do that?
Yeah. Like, turns out it's just an indie developer all along.
Yeah, exactly. Like making a baseball game. What's that all about, bro? He's like making baseball games, but also just a mass murderer. I guess you never know.
It happens.
You never know. Scooby-Doo's a crazy ass show, but Velma, what's up? Best girl right there. Big Josh Boy. You popped over to Twitter. You found a game called Skeleton Crew, so tell me about it.
I sure did. Skeleton Crew definitely does not look like one that you would want to play, but I feel like I would enjoy this. This is a... That face, man.
Yep.
Check out the YouTube.
It's not the kind of game I'd like to play.
It's not. But this one is more for me, and this is why we started doing shout outs.
Okay, dude, I gotta fucking interrupt you 100%. If you watch this when
he's shaking his booty
trailer for this dude straight up spreads his beat cheeks.
Yeah, he's just shaking his booty.
Ready. Yeah, he's definitely not shaking his booty. He's spreading his beat cheeks, dude.
No, dude.
He is ready.
He's wearing armor. He's wearing armor. You can't spread no cheeks in armor. Get out of here.
That just seems. It seems like
No.
You're taking. There's a leap of faith right there. You're taking it for no reason. Bro spreading them beat cheeks.
I'm taking it. Look, the trailer has nothing to do with the game. Once you actually get a little bit past that, the graphics change quite a bit. There are no butt spreads that I can see. But it very much feels like something kind of similar to like a Trine, having the puzzle effects and multiple characters, but also having a big focus on combat. It reminds me of another game that the name's escaping me from a long time ago, and it was about these like two brothers that you played as of like Norse mythology. Damn, I wish I could remember it. Anyway, not important. But it's a up to four player co-op game where you could either do, single player, you could play with a number of other ones. And I'm just reading off the Twitter page, there's 12 playable characters, which I think is interesting because it looks like there was only 4 at first, but who knows what's actually out there. 17 handcrafted non-linear levels, which I think is interesting because there's like puzzles or things that probably each one of those different characters, the 12, are better at. So it's like you probably have certain ways to solve and get through certain levels, which I think is cool. And then boss fights. And the bosses seem to take up like most of your screen, and it looks pretty cool. I like the 2D aspect of it. And I'm always looking for a good co-op like online game because I'm getting tired of playing the same ones that I always play. So I think it looks good. I would check it out. It feels very much just like chaotic goodness of jumping around, slashing at baddies. There seems to be a rogue and like a magician type character as well. So shooting out spells, that kind of thing. You have a bunch of them. You're platforming in this very hectic world. If any of that sounds interesting, I'd definitely check out their Twitter page, because that's where the initial trailer is that will show you kind of everything that you need to know from a gist of it, of like, will you be interested or not? You can find them at Cinder Cone Games. That's CINDERCONE Games. And then from there, they also have a Steam page that you can check out, which has more information, more videos. I don't know. It just looks like fun. It's not out yet, so I can't tell like how much it's going to be or actually when it's going to come out, because I think on the Steam page it just says coming soon. Let me check really quickly. Yeah, it just says coming soon, so I'm not sure exactly when that would be, but we'll have to wait and see. One to check out. I put it on my wish list and I'm following them. I asked them if they wanted to do an interview and they never got back to me. Not cool. Not cool, Cinder Cone Games. But that being said, I'll still shout out your game.
So for my indie shout out, I was scrolling through Twitter today actually, and just happened across a game called Ruined Valley. It's a Metroidvania. Currently there's a demo available over on itch.io. Apparently it's about 20 minutes long, but the game itself, honestly, like the way the character moves reminded me a lot of Momodora Reverie Under the Moonlight. So I was super into it, especially because of that mix of like the bow, whereas like in Momodora you also can use a bow, but you have your maple leaf, whereas in this you have this kind of weird kind of crude dagger. But the game just looks really good. I like their use of color. Like I like how much the character pops because they use purple on this more like gray background. They use a decent amount of purple, but honestly I just like me some purple. Shit looks dope. The game looks a lot of fun. The animation looks pretty solid. It looks pretty smooth. And I think the like overall motion looks good.
That's one of my favorite things about this, just looking at it. It looks really clean from an animation perspective, and the use of their purple on like specific things to just accent objects that are relevant to like it's really easy to distinguish like what is an important thing, like a major trap or ledges that you're supposed to land on, or your character itself. Like it's really good at, you know, exactly where I needs to be at any point.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. So I ended up just scrolling across this one. The developer is at PVL_PXL on Twitter, but it's the same thing for their itch.io page. It's PVLPXL./itch.io/Ruined Valley. Game looks super cool. I thought it looked awesome. Be sure to follow me. I just freaking retweet these things. It's at High Legion on Twitter. So, Big Josh Boy, we have gone through our indie shoutouts, so it is time to hop into our listener questions. I'm also going to include the listener questions from last week, at least for me to answer. Yep. I don't know how many of them you answered. I saw that at the very least you answered Phil's what's the like most uncomfortable question you have been given, which I appreciate.
I've answered everything on this list except for the last two, so we can run through a bunch of quick hot takes from you.
All right, so Ryan wrote in last week and asks, what is your greatest uncommon fear? And then they say, they have a fear of walking in the dark in the countryside and stepping on a hedgehog, not because it would hurt, but actually because they're afraid they're going to kill a hedgehog, which is just so wholesome. And I love you for it, Ryan. Thank you very much for that. My greatest uncommon fear is... Man, I have so many of them. You know, I am terrified of things I can't see my feet under, like couches, beds, even some cabinets. I don't like to put my feet next to them, even though I know there's a back to them. Like a cabinet, I don't like to stand close to them because I'm afraid something's going to grab my feet. I've talked about that one before. Terrified of water. Just, I can swim. but like dark water specifically. I'm very much a shark at the like communal pool kind of a kid, where I'm just like, oh yeah, I went to the YMCA. I fucking hopped in the pool to do their dumbass little lap thing so you could go on the high dive, and it turned out that I was thinking a shark was coming after me the whole fucking time, and I was super freaked out. So those are my greatest uncommon fears, I would say. I don't feel like a massive amount of people are scared of sharks in public pools, but there you go. Phil writes in and says, so how close of a family member is too close, if you get what I'm laying down here? Our second cousin's fair game, for example. Did you answer this, Big Joshua? You did?
Well, you know me. I basically answered it with just like, stop this.
See, here's okay. I have amended my stance on incest for the most part.
Oh,
now that
great.
I'm thinking about having kids, don't worry, it's not much better.
Oh my God.
If you live in the same home, then maybe not. Maybe not. That just like, that's too much. Like siblings, no, not a fan. But like
what
your cousins, sure, dude, whatever. Like let's be arbitrary about this. Your cousins just don't have kids, you know? Like let's say I believe like third, fourth cousins and beyond, feel free to have children. They're not going to have birth defects. But like first and second cousins, I'm sorry, you get to be sterilized. You know what I mean? Like you get the vasectomy, you get somebody pounding your balls with a big old mallet. You get Gallaghered. You know what I mean? Right before and after. But, you know, just like, if you're just in it for the fun, who gives a shit? It's your life, bro. Bill also writes in, I was there.
Can we backtrack on the fact that you were just like, if you live in a house with them, that's too far? So like what? They come over for vacation, they live far off, and they come for a week. It's like, well, you're in my house, I guess let's fuck. Like, is that how it works?
No, I'm saying like a brother or sister might be a little bit too close, you know? Like that might be taking advantage, you know? But like, hey, I mean, if you're both consenting adults and just cousins, why do I fucking care? You know, that's what I'm saying. The only thing is like, until you're impacting a third party, which would be a child, everything's gravy, you know? Just like, hey, I don't give a shit. Fuck your cousin. Like it doesn't impact me in the slightest.
Yeah. Wow.
There you go.
NFTs and incest. Apparently Vaughn has the same take.
You got me there. Phil also writes in and says, I was there at the dawn of Steam, eagerly awaiting for Half-Life 2 to unlock, only to be plagued by issues as the server got overwhelmed. Needless to say, I was not happy with not being able to buy the game on DVD and just be able to play the damn thing. Do you remember your initial reactions to Steam? I didn't get into gaming on PC for a long time. So Steam was actually already a fixture in the games industry by the time that I got into it. The first time I actually saw Steam was after Battle Block Theater had already been out. Like,
oh wow, yeah, that's a while.
I exclusively only played Flash games and RuneScape on PCs before that. Or the Toy Story game where you played as Buzz Lightyear and you just like fucked up other toys. I also played the shit out of that. That was a dope game. But yeah, my initial reaction was like, whoa, dude, the thing I play World of Warcraft on, it's got Steam. That's cool. No, it was already a big fixture of the games industry before I had ever saw it. So I knew of Steam. And then by the time I built a PC or had something that could actually access it, it was just a thing. It was like, if I want to pick up whatever game, I can pick it up on Steam. It was never that big of a deal for me. Digital games, though, I remember being very perplexed at the idea of a digital game, initially not understanding what it was as a kid. Like, I remember when the Xbox 360 came out and games started having the DLC tab and like the downloadable content tab when you first started them up. And I was like, what does that mean? Yeah. Not understanding what DLC was at the time and having a friend explain to me basically about purchasing digital games, but they were saying that was DLC. Like in Fable, they're like, yeah, you can purchase Fable digitally. You can just take your disc, you can get it digitally. And also, they were explaining in a really dumb fucking way. So I thought that I could just rent games and I could download them onto my fucking 360. That is not what it is. That was never what it was. But yeah, the digital revolution was very weird for me because I have always been a physical kid. From then on, ever since digital was available, I've been a physical kid if I could get it. Like, I have literal boxed copies of every World of Warcraft expansion because I fucking buy boxed versions of everything. Every game that has come out on PC that I've wanted, I bought a boxed copy. If they were available. I never played Half-Life, so there you go. I never had that issue. But there,
play it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's a good game.
I've heard great things, but yeah, I've just never done it. So they also write in and says, do you guys have any good B-Day stories? Big Joshua, do you have any good B-Day stories?
Yeah, I was thinking about this a little. I don't really have, I don't care too much about birthdays, personally. I've never been a big, like, you know, like there's some people, like my wife is one of them where they're like, oh, it's my birthday, everything's about me. Or like, you know, they'll get sad when like their birthday is over. And I'm like, it's just going to come back next year. Like it doesn't go away. I don't care as much. And as I'm getting older, it's even more of like a mark on, hey, you're old, you're going to die. And I'm like, this is just another friendly reminder that I'm just getting older and doing nothing good with my life. So I kind of hate them, and don't care too much. The only thing, like I have a couple of birthdays that I really enjoyed. Like, I had one where I went up to like, I think it was Tampa or somewhere in Florida. That's way north from where I actually live, with a bunch of buddies to go see like this huge comedy festival. Cause I've always been really big into stand-up comedy. And went there and we like, this was before like Airbnb had blown up as a thing. And we had just like kind of rented a house, like this apartment thing from someone. I don't even know how.
That's cool.
Yeah. And we were just in this little apartment, and we had bought this like a little mini keg thing of beer, and we're just hanging out, and it was like a close group. And it was like really fun to just do and go there because it was like far from home, because we were like, it was fairly young, like right at that point where you're starting to, you know, it was like when I'm 21, like very young, and still at that time I was still living at home, so it was just cool to just be out and be able to do whatever I wanted and kind of hang out with all my friends. But the main story that I really remember, and this birthday sucked, but I'll always remember it because it was the time that I realized that I don't like fishing anymore, or at least I'll never do it on a boat. I used to really enjoy fishing. I still kind of do, but I just don't do it anymore. But like for one of my birthdays, my dad was super excited because he's like, oh, let's go on this boat. I found this thing that we can do where you pay some money and you go out, they take you on this boat, they go out to a specific area and you get to fish, and you could keep as many fish as you catch and blah, blah, blah. And we were super excited, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be great. And I got on there, and the minute we got out to sea, I immediately realized I'm not good on the water. And I puked the entire time we were there.
Oh, you're that not good on the water. I thought you were just going to say, like, you don't like it.
No.
Damn,
like, I was
boy.
viciously, like, nauseous. Just, it was awful.
Ooh.
It was awful. And the entire fishing trip, I spent inside the boat's bathroom.
Latrine.
Yeah. It was good.
Damn.
And then I remember feeling awful, and my dad was like, yeah, like it sucked because that was my birthday. And then we got home, and I remember being like, oh, I feel sick. I need to eat something. And I ate something and immediately threw up right on the floor. Like,
oh my God.
I couldn't keep anything down, dude. It was awful. So that was my favorite birthday, you know?
Jesus. I'm not a big birthday person either, actually. My standing birthday appointment is just to be left alone on my birthday. So like my parents would be like, what do you want to do on your birthday? And I'm like, nothing, literally nothing. Yeah. Like maybe go out to dinner just because I want some free food, but that's it, dude.
Honestly,
I don't give a shit. I just want to be left alone, and I want to play some games and watch some dumbass TV.
I don't care. Yeah, I'm not the same when it comes to like wanting to be left alone, but I definitely don't want to do anything big. Like I'd rather just chill or like just go to a brewery or just hang out with some friends. Like I don't care about doing anything grandiose. I will say
I feel like everyone's just obsessed with doing that shit though. Like you can't go out on it. No one will allow me to just have a normal birthday that's not that. You know what I mean? Like I have to draw the line at like I don't want to do anything. That's, and then they will allow you to go get dinner. Like that, then it's perfectly acceptable to just have a meal. Outside of that, they're like, let's go ride go-karts. And I'm like, why would I do that? They're like, it's because it's your birthday. And I was like,
you're like, I don't do that normally though.
Wanted to do that? Like, I don't. Okay.
Yeah. It's definitely weird. I don't know. This story should have been that for my 30th, I was supposed to go and travel outside of the US and do this big birthday bash with a bunch of my friends. And then COVID hit, baby. Woo-hoo! And then haven't been outside the country since. So COVID ruins everything.
I mean, it's probably a good thing. You know, just like you might as well just stay in Florida. Well, actually, it might be worse in Florida. Go somewhere else. You know what I mean? Just like go somewhere safer. Maybe actually leaving the country might be better for you. Never mind. Let's just.
That's true. There's better places than here.
Yeah. No, I don't have any like super big birthday stories, because I've just never cared that much about my birthday. It's never been this huge deal. Like my fucking dad, when I was a young lad, my dad gave me a Barney book for my birthday and he thought it was fucking hilarious. And I did not find it as funny as he did. But that's like
a Barney book, like the dinosaur?
Yeah. Like Barney the dinosaur. I was like 10 years old and he gave me a Barney the dinosaur book. And I was like, I feel like this is not as funny as you think it is. But
I feel like that might be a good joke if you were like a lot older. Like I feel like that.
Yeah, if you gave like a 40-year-old person a Barney book, like that might be funny. They'd be like,
haha, that's silly. Yeah, I clearly don't want this. But a kid
is just like, this is a little.
It's like, are you just saying I'm dumb and a baby? Like, what are you trying to say here, Dad?
But no, I've just never been a big birthday person. So there you go. What outdoor temperature is the ideal temperature for you, Big Josh Boy? I mean, you live in Florida, so do you live in your ideal temperature?
No, that's for sure.
Really? Okay.
It's hot, dude. No one in Florida says that the outside is their ideal temperature.
All those
everyone has
moved to Florida because
they moved
of the
to Florida, but they have constant AC. Like,
you got anytime, me there. They moved to Florida, but don't go outside.
Yeah, anytime the AC goes out, that's when old people die. That's when they die. If a hurricane hits. Old people didn't die because the hurricane hit them. It's because the power went out and they just melted to death. That is 100%. They just melt. They melt down, and that's the old people are gone forever. It's literally how it happens. Florida is not the ideal temperature. There are like 2 weeks out of the year where Florida is the ideal temperature because it gets down to like the 60s. And then you're like, oh, this is real nice. This is nice. This is nice, chill weather. You know, you get like a nice little breeze. It's good out. It's great. The rest of the time, it's like 80 plus and it's fucking hot.
Okay.
Too much.
All right. So 60 is your ideal temperature outside.
Yeah. I would say.
Do you have a specific weather pattern you enjoy? You're like, oh, I like an overcast day.
I hate rain. Anytime it rains, I hate it. I hate it, dude. I hate it. And it's ever since I became a homeowner, I hate it even more because it makes the outside look so ugly. And I'm like, ugh, stupid rain.
You got this dirty looking house. It's like it's bathed in dirt. You're like, God damn it, I live in this swamp ass territory.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it so much.
Okay.
Overcast is fine. Because as you know, for Florida, I don't like it when the sun is just directly out because it will melt you. So overcast is okay.
All right. My ideal temperature is like 65, 70. I do love overcast. I love overcast days. I love the rain. Big fan. Love me some rain. I love the fact that like worms come out and they just like, they fucking do their thing. It's like the only time you ever see worms unless you cut them in half with a shovel. You know what I mean? Like, fuck yeah, dude. Worms just doing their thing.
Are you sure you're not a big fan of NFTs?
I might be. If they were to have made this worm bed NFT, I would have been into it.
Damn.
But
That's
they
why.
didn't.
That's why
People
you're upset.
bullied them into
get
making to getting rid of the dope ass NFT. So
I know that's the
whatever.
struggle.
Dude. Seriously though, if there's like an NFT of like big titty waifus, I might be in. You know what I mean? Like a Subverse NFT.
Oh
where
yeah, collect your own waifu there?
In the game were NFTs. You know what I mean? Then I might buy into NFTs.
That's interesting. I don't know.
You know what? Did I just crack the code on how to get NFTs into the games industry?
Bro, that's
sex
it.
games. That's
we
it.
Got it. Sex sells.
Dude, Genshin Impact, but all your waifus are NFTs. That's it. Fucking, we got them, boys. Oof. We got them. Yeah, no, I love the rain. Perfect temperature, 65, 70, overcast, done. It's the best day ever. I might sit in my house, but like the weird thing is people hate those days when it like rains because they're like, well, I can't go outside. Those are the only days I voluntarily go outside. Everything else is just a hassle. I'm like, why am I fucking outside? It's not raining. It's like fucking hot as shit outside. It's stupid.
You and my wife are like the complete opposite. She loves when it rains because she's like, "Oh, I get to just stay inside and be all cozy with the rain going on outside." She's like, "It's a good excuse because I can't do anything. It's raining. I gotta be lazy and just watch TV."
I don't need a fucking excuse not to go outside. I'm a hermit, dude. I fucking need an excuse to go outside.
See, it's all about perception. Life is just about how you perceive things, and you're basically saying the same thing, but you just don't have that mental thing that says like you're not being productive. You got to go outside in your brain.
Dude, when I worked from home, I never went outside. Never crossed the threshold of my fucking home.
We just I mentioned it before, but our dog recently passed, and we would go on walks all the time. And when we first moved here about a year and a half ago, we were constantly walking. We're always with the dog. And our neighbors now, every so often, my wife and I will go for a walk, just to walk around. And anytime they see us, they're always like, "Oh, where have you been? I feel like I haven't seen you in so long." And so I'd always be out with the dog, and you have to go through this like fucking awkward, like, "Where's the dog at?" And you're like, "The dog hasn't been here for a while." Like, put two and two together, you know? Like, the dog is gone. Like, why you got to make me tell you this?
You're putting me in a weird situation, a precarious situation. I'm not a fan of this conversation. I'm just literally like, they start it and just turn around and walk away.
But but the point I'm trying to make is that because we don't have the dog and we're not always gung ho about like, oh, let's go for a walk. Like, we enjoy just hanging out and talking with each other and going like doing little laps around the neighborhood. But we don't always do that. And there will be times where like a week will go by now and I'm like, fuck, I have not gone outside. Other than going to the gym, that's literally all I do. I go to the gym and I come back home and then I'm like, and I'm back inside, baby.
Dude, that's how I don't understand how I got COVID. I go to work, I come home. That's it. I don't do anything else. I don't see anybody else. I fucking see my wife. Like, and all she does, go to work, come home. That's it. We go to the store once a week because we have to buy fucking groceries. That's it. But like, literally 3 places we go in an entire fucking week. And most of it is in isolation at home.
That's all it takes.
And somehow we got COVID.
That's all it takes.
How the fuck does that work?
I don't know.
COVID fucking sucks.
It's contagious, baby.
It permeates the walls of my home. It's garbage. Dennis wrote in last week, but obviously I wasn't here to answer this one. Did you answer it, Big Josh Boy?
I didn't answer it. That's specific
have
for you.
you even seen this one? Okay.
The Phantom Moss.
Well, there you go. I guess it is for me.
You
can also answer it, though.
I used to create back when I was a kid, we had this like, ask the question first because
okay,
no context.
Yeah. So Dennis writes in and says, Vaughn, I can't recall if you've ever mentioned it, but seeing as you're a fan of monster collecting games and cool creature designs, have you ever designed any creatures yourself? And if so, are there ones that you're particularly proud of? So Big Joshua, have you made any?
So yes and no. When I was a kid, I was really into like Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh cards and things like that. It was back when I was in elementary school. My friends and I created our own little Pokemon cards, and we would create our like little creatures and write them down and create the cards for them. They were highly terribly balanced.
Oh yeah, you're like, it's the strongest.
It's like 100 damage for no reason.
Fucking Arceus has got bullshit on me. I just destroy everything with my hyper ass cheeks. Like,
yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I made a couple of. I don't remember any of them, and I would never do it.
That's my problem.
Yeah, I would never do it again. Really, at this point in my life, just because I am not good enough to create little creatures. But I did once.
Okay.
That's all I get.
Yes, I have made them before. I used to make them all the time as a kid. I used to draw a lot as a kid, but after, like, once I hit middle school, for some reason, I just kind of stopped. I drew every now and then, but it became less and less of a passion, which I found a little bit weird. Granted, like, I feel like I lost a lot of my passions once I hit middle school, which is odd because I used to like write all the time. I used to draw all the time. And then once I got into middle school, and that's when, at least in my life, I really started to develop a social life, even though I never leave my house. But I guess I did when I was younger. I used to hang out with friends all the time. But once that hit, it was like, basically the normal things outside of video games that I did, the other hobbies I had just fell to the wayside and I didn't do them again. So I haven't made creature designs in a long time. I've thought about getting back into drawing every now and then. More recently, creature designs I've made are like different variations of slimes for the isekai that I'm writing. And I have just randomly created like different things, but I can't say that I'm particularly proud of any specific one, to be honest. Throughout my entire life, it's just I can't remember most of them from when I was a kid, to be completely honest. Like, it was something I did very, very often, but more often than not, I'm fairly certain I just like copied fucking Yu-Gi-Oh cards and Pokemon and was just like, yeah,
like,
I
this
totally
is
made
mine.
this. And it's like, that's fucking like Dark Magician Girl. What are you talking about? I see them fat anime titties. You're lying. You know what I mean? Like, I would have punched my little dumb ass in the head. But yes, I have done it before. And I just don't remember enough of them. I don't remember 90% of my childhood, to be honest. Constantly, I get asked like about different pivotal moments in my childhood, and I'll be like, didn't happen. Not even.
I had a similar situation where my mother was over the other day, and we were talking about some event where I needed to take photos of this bridge for school, some project. And she was like, yeah, we went there, and then we went to lunch at some place and blah, blah, blah. And my stepdad is like, yeah, I remember that. And I'm like, you literally are both in cahoots and making this shit up. There's no way this
You guys
ever
are trying
happened.
to gaslight me.
Yeah, I was like, this literally never happened, and you both are crazy. And they couldn't convince me. And then finally, my mother's like, oh no, wait. And she like looks through photos for like 20 minutes. I'm like, Mom, you're making it up. Like, it doesn't exist. She finally finds
You're
it.
a fucking liar.
You're
Mom.
a fucking liar. Get out of my house. And then she finds it. She shows it to me, and I go, oh yeah. Okay, that happened. And like, but I was so convinced. I was like, this never happened. I have no idea what you're talking about. And then you see the photo, you're like, yeah, okay, all right, I guess it did. But like,
she just like looks at you like,
just like, this motherfucker.
I'll slap your fucking face. You stupid.
But those memories are just locked, dude.
Yeah.
If you don't have something to jog that, they're gone.
So much of my childhood is just gone. Like, I don't remember so much of it. And it's like a constant joke in my friend group. Chase wrote it into his best man speech that no matter how pivotal a moment was in my childhood, if you ask me about it, I probably don't remember. And it's just like, hey, is that trauma? I don't know. Whatever, dude. Moving on.
Could be. That's borderline trauma type scenarios there. You just forget it. I guess
it's fine. And did it really happen if you just bury it deep down? I don't think it did.
Definitely does.
That is the end of this episode. Thanks everyone so much for listening. If you would like to chat with us outside of the show, you could do so in a bunch of different ways. Be sure to follow us at IndiePod. You can follow me at Hyde Legion, and you can follow Josh at _George90. Be sure to check out our developer interviews each and every Wednesday. This upcoming one is with Divine Studios. They're talking about their game Valorous. It goes live on the 9th of February. That is, of course, a Wednesday, just each and every Wednesday. Super easy. Be sure to check out our Teespring store. It's just super, it's like the IndiePod store on Teespring. I don't know what I'm saying. There's a link for it in our pinned tweet on Twitter. Very easy to find, as well as our Discord. You could pick up shirts. You could pick up sweatshirts. You could pick up stickers. Super fun. Head over to YouTube, type in IndiePod. You can watch these episodes. Leave us reviews on any site in which you can do so, specifically iTunes and Spotify. Help us out a bunch. And lastly, thank you so much to all of our amazing patrons at the $3 tier or higher. If you give us any amount of your time, any amount of your money, we love you and thank you for it. But we got to thank them $3 patrons. So thank you so much to Ryan, Ethan, a gamer for fun, John, it's just John, bro, Zach Durham, Chase Hopkins, Philip Renchard, the one-bad emperor of Australia, and Sam Fillion from Canada. That is it for today. Thanks everyone so much for listening, and we will talk to you all next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.